Why, hello there, people. Welcome back to another episode of Casual Master Quest. It is number 35, baby. We are rocking it. And I am, of course, Tyler Benito, your host for this lovely, lovely evening or morning, depending how it is. Let's not speak of time, though. Let's speak of our awesome partner and co-host over in the action-packed corner over there. Welcome, Nick. How's it going, buddy?
That's me. I'm doing all right. How are you?
Are you doing all right? It feels like we were just here 24 hours before.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about either. Oh, man. It's been a week. Yeah, it's been a weekend. Wow. Man. Breaking news. Wild shit has been happening. But let's not worry about that. Let's talk about our week, Nick. What's your week been like, man?
Really just school and a little bit of sickness going on.
Down with the sickness?
Just a little bit. So apparently that was pretty good. I've never had strep throat, and apparently so I'm not familiar with what strep throat feels like or the symptoms of strep. And so I faced strep throat. That's hard for me to say for the first time in my life.
Strep.
But basically it was a week and a half of sore throat that just wasn't going away, but I wasn't sick. There was no cough. There was I didn't have the sniffles. I wasn't, no night sweats, no fevers, nothing. And I'm like, damn, I'm falling sick. Let me start pounding hot water, tea, my mom's homemade remedies, the juice of a whole lemon and a tablespoon of honey, whip it together and take it like a shot. Traditional Indian cures include hot milk with a bunch of pepper, like a shit ton of pepper. It's not fun to drink. That and
it
hot
doesn't
milk
sound fun.
It's not fun. Hot milk and turmeric, because turmeric
is turmeric?
Turmeric powder. Turmeric is a root. It's very commonly used in Indian food because it has anti-inflammatory properties and it just has very beneficial properties overall.
Okay.
I think in North America you can find them in pills or whatever because multivitamins are a big thing here.
I think the alternative usually used over here would probably be ginger, if I were to guess. But I guess
yeah. We use a combination of everything. Yeah, so we'll use a combination of turmeric, ginger, and a whole bunch of other spices. A few of the spices that my mom adds when she starts cooking is good for digestion, and a few are good for just general internal body health. There's a rich history there to how Indian food is cooked and spiced, because there's a difference between spiced and spicy. Yes. Well, spicy is relatively new. Spicy food was only introduced in India around the 15th century.
That's recent.
Relatively recent. It was peppers that were brought over from the New World by the Portuguese, and then the Indians started. We started using them in different kinds of our cuisine, and it's usually the city that I'm from has some of the spiciest food in the country. Anyways, my strep throat went from being a sore throat to one of my tonsils being swollen. That wasn't fun because it hurt to swallow. And just certain positions, like having my neck in certain positions would put pressure on and cause some discomfort. And so I go to the doctor and she's like, you probably should have come in a few days ago. I'm like, oh, why? Because then we would have probably given you some, antibiotics, taken a swab just to see what it is. But this is the tail end of the sickness. You're fine. Go home. I'm like, all right, cool. Thanks, doc.
Man.
That was the end of it. I was hoping to get some drugs, but no score.
That is a rough deal. I'm not sure what it's like over in the Canadian world, but like over here in the Midwest, we don't use our drugs unless we're healthy.
I wonder what that's like.
Hashtag Vicodins.
I don't know if this is common too, but I went to the doctor and I didn't pay anything.
Oh,
but
Ooh, Nick, that is a heavy ball to drop. If you're gonna throw that, Nick, you said you had trouble swallowing. I always thought you was a spitter type, anyways.
Swallow or spit depends on the amount. But what?
What? Man,
nothing.
That does not go with ginger.
School's been busy. I'm taking one more course than I usually do, so it's new, but I'm excited because generally the busier I am, the more on top of things I am. Because I don't have as much free time to procrastinate, and I procrastinate hard usually because I believe pressure makes diamonds, so I tend to leave things to the last minute. But no, I'm in a video game course. We sat around playing a bunch of different games today because we had to form groups last week. with one game that one of us brought and make our own house rule that would fit in well with the game. And then this week we had to introduce it to the other groups, and they'd introduce their game to us with their house rule. And so I played Monopoly Deal, which I didn't know existed. I didn't know there was a card version of Monopoly. And
like how does that work though?
So the goal is in the deck there'll be property cards, action cards, and money cards. So you have 3 actions a turn. You have 5 cards to start with, and at the start of each turn you draw 2 cards. So 3 actions per turn. You can take money cards and put them in your bank, or you can play an action card that'll either steal property from friends or do other things. You can make people pay rent, or your property cards that actually allow you to win the game. So you have to collect usually 3 full sets of properties, right? So the red property cards will need 3 to complete the set. The black ones will need 4 to complete the set. The black ones are like the utilities and the train stations in the actual board game. And then the brown ones, you need only the 2. So it kind of mimics the board game to some extent. But as long as you can collect them and 3 full sets, you win the game. And you do that with the action cards by stealing property from your the other players.
Wait, how do you steal property? Is there cards for that too?
Yeah, so it depends on the cards. Some cards, there'll be there's one card that allows you to forcibly swap one of your properties with one of their properties. There'll be another card that you can just take one of the properties that you want. Or if they have no money in their bank, you can, whenever you play an action card that demands somebody to pay you money, if they have no money in their bank, they'd have to pay you with property. Because each property also has a value, and there's no change given in the game. So if I, for example, am demanding 2 million from everybody, and one person only has 3 million in their bank, I can't give back. You don't get $1 million back. So you have to be very strategic with a little bit to how you play your cards, and then there's luck of the draw because you draw 2 cards every time. There was another thing I was gonna say, but I forgot. Yeah, no, it was fun. It after we learned it, it went by pretty quick.
Nick, wild question for you, if you don't mind me asking. What are the red property names?
Oh, fuck if I know. I can't remember.
Okay, makes me feel a lot better too then.
Trafalgar Square, maybe is one of them.
Indiana's one, and Illinois, but I don't remember what the third one is.
For some reason, I feel like Illinois is... Oh, wait, I forgot. There's different kinds of Monopoly sets. This is the American Monopoly set.
Oh, that's probably the American... Oh, that's different for you then.
That's why I never... No, so with the card game, that's why I wasn't keeping track of the names, because they didn't... I didn't recognize them. But back home, we'd be playing with the British set generally. So we'd have Trafalgar Square, Piccadilly Circle...
Okay.
King's Cross Station.
I looked it up now. For the UK Standard Edition, you got Trafalgar Square, Fleet Street, and the Strand.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
And that sounds bewildering to me, because I got Illinois Avenue, Indiana Avenue, and then Kentucky Avenue, which is, live or die by at this point.
I feel like also that's a standard across all states. There's at least a city that has at least one, like Illinois Avenue.
Or My Little Pony edition, you got the Town Square, Fluttershy's Cottage, and Sweet Apple Acres for some reason. Oh, and there's Doctor Who and Skylanders edition. Okay, whatever. Anyways,
all right, Brony. How was your week, Tyler?
Okay. Let me spit this one out for size. I have been really, really busy for work. I had a gentleman, one of my coworkers, calling sick on Monday. And I was prepping up, to play on my Switch and ride along for that day. And all of a sudden, within 5 minutes before the route starts, like, hey, you're driving this route that you weren't expecting. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. And ever since then, it's been a very rough week for me. It's going to be one to remember, that's for fucking sure. But I'm hoping I can pull through it and everything works out just fine. So we'll see what happens. Over on the I know technically this is video game related, so humor me if you could, please.
No, sure.
Over on the Pixel Spark side, over with my Pixelmon lifestyle over there, I tried to resign. Heck, I tried tossing in the towel just because I wasn't happy with some of the way things were being handled, which included the way I was being handled in the bureaucracy, if you will.
Were you not able to get away?
I was not. I left a note and I stepped outside and I got immediately caught in a large net, a fishing net, and I'm like, guys, please just let me leave and do this honorably. Like, motherfucker, you're gonna sit down and listen. We ain't let you leave, and you don't leave. Or sorry, you didn't pick the Pixel Spark Life. The Pixel Spark Life picked you.
You don't leave until we're done with you.
Yes, and we had a talk, and it was a good hour-and-a-half long conversation with the bigwigs, aka the people that we had interviewed earlier. I guess technically late last year. And long story short, I guess I'm staying, and they've given me a little bit more purpose into helping the community in a way that I feel comfortable with. Which also means I am now a mod. I'm a moderator on that server now. So
yay or
yay!
Like a woo? Like a question mark?
I'm happy because honestly, a moderator means I can now start events and stuff officially on the server. I can interact with more players. And if there's one thing I really enjoy doing is, talking with people and giving them a chance to win stuff just by participating in the game. Because, if you just give free money to everybody, then everybody's rich and you're just wasting your time giving away your money. Right. And then everyone gets this, give me mentality, which we're not allowed to do handouts or anything like that. And much as I'd love to give them free Pokemon, I'm technically not supposed to do that under normal circumstances. However, if it's a prize in an event or something like that, and they legit worked and won it out of pure luck or effort, then good for them. They get it. And I feel like I'm enabled to do something like that now, and I'm now able to find different ways and provide input on how the server is running to some extent to see if we can find a way to improve it or offer creative ideas to create something new. But that's over on my end, man. It's been kind of a dry week in the real life world, and quite frankly, very, very, very stressful. It's been one of those, man. But what you been playing, man?
I haven't been playing. So I had my 2 weeks off at the end of December, and now that school started up again, my gaming time's going to go down for the moment because it's a new semester, getting used to like a new routine. Knowing when the deadlines are, when I'm going to be after doing certain kinds of work. It's just going to take me a few weeks to stabilize, but with the new added course, it's not going to be easy to get as much gaming. And so there was a New Year sale on the Nintendo store.
Oh,
yeah.
There was a lot of games on sale. Yeah.
You know what wasn't on sale, Tyler?
I mean,
what wasn't on sale?
There are a lot of games on the Switch right now that, even since they came out, they've been stuck at $60 because they're fantastic and wonderful games, Nick. Now, are you trying to suggest that you, I see where you're going with this because we already had this argument before previously. Nick does not own The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. He rented it or borrowed it from the library for a short period of time. And so instead of concentrating his efforts on getting that as soon as possible, he's pushed it off and then instead went on, I'm assuming, a deal of some sort, Nick.
Yeah, it was cheaper. So it's $60 for you. It's $79.99 for me. And after tax, it's about $90.
You're telling me there's a $20 tax?
$79.99.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad. I thought you said 60. So a $10 tax.
Yeah.
I see. What the fuck is Trudeau doing over there?
I don't know. It's I think general sales tax here in BC is 12%.
Good God, dude. I think I'm sitting at like 6-7% right now. That's vicious, my man.
Toronto is 13, I think. But anyways, yeah, it's $79.99 for us. The price of like games all across the board. And so when I saw that Octopath was sitting at $60, I jumped at it.
Okay. And how was it? Was it a worthwhile purchase?
Hell yes. So Octopath allows you to download the when you download the demo, you can transfer over your save file because the demo only allows you to play for 3 hours, not 3 hours of what the supposed story time is, 3 total actual gameplay hours. So you could get the one character and just grind it out for God knows how long if you wanted. But I think I only put about an hour and a half after that and never picked it up again. Got the game, transferred it over, and now I'm sitting at about 8 hours.
Nice.
It's a fun game. I really like it. I think I mentioned this a couple of episodes ago, maybe, that I'm not the biggest fan of turn-based games when I look at like games like Final Fantasy, and then I realized Pokemon's a fucking turn-based game. What the fuck am I talking about?
Yes,
but I think what bothers me is what puts me off from a game like Final Fantasy is that there's a lot more management on a micro scale in terms of like you have all these different monsters, you need to know who's going to go first, whereas with Pokemon it's straightforward and then it comes down purely to stats.
Right. I know exactly how you feel. Like with Pokemon, I mean, you learn moves, you level up and stuff, and if you want to get like, you know, crazy into the competitive scene, then it's just a matter of IVs and EVs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But when it comes to RPGs, there's always that second, third, maybe even a fourth or fifth different level of additional competitive play that you gotta, you know, different types of skills and abilities, how you want to branch those skills in the right direction, or if you want to apply like some kind of modifier to it. So much wild shit when it comes to those kind of RPGs.
So I think this is like my first official turn-based JRPG, and I was watching them do a speedrun, a little bit of it on Games Done Quick this year.
Oh no!
And some of the things that they were able to do is very intimidating. It's fantastic how what you could actually do with a game like this. Story-wise, it's pretty straightforward so far. A little bit cheesy, but not like in a bad way. It's kind of like, this is kind of like a general trope, like kind of like how this arc would play out. You know,
so it would go good with nacho chips then.
Probably, yeah.
So it's cheesy, but it's good cheesy.
It's like, oh yeah, my dad's being controlling. I have to get away from him. Oh, I managed to get away from him, and I found my true calling in my own way. I'm gonna go explore the world.
Nick, you sound like you're so excited talking about this game, just listening to you as you speak.
I'm talking about the story purely. Music is fantastic, and I believe the art style, the official classification for this art style is 2D HD.
Yes,
without. So it's like old school pixelated 2D kind of like, you know, side-scrolling game, or, you know, but with
there's way too many more
and
effects.
Light and just so much more. But I think that's the official classification for this kind of art style. The music's fantastic, and just the actual gameplay itself, it's fast enough where I'm not disengaged. Like a lot of the boss, where it doesn't feel boring to me, is more specific, more correct to
even
say.
During like the grind sessions.
Even during the grind sessions, well, I haven't hit the truly grindy parts yet, because I still haven't discovered all the characters, all the heroes, and so I'm constantly swapping people out. And the people who, like, the mainstays, the character you start with is always going to be there. And then the other three that I keep rotating, they level up a lot quicker. So it's nice to see the level up and, you know, choose the perks and stuff.
Going up, they're so good.
So when I actually get to the grindy parts, I'll report back in. But I think I'm okay with it. I remember breeding, you know, 500 Pokemon in Pokemon Platinum to finish up my Pokédex. I remember doing all of that, just running around in circles. So I feel like I could deal with this. The gameplay is fast enough where it doesn't leave me bored, and the boss fights are really intense, and I love it, because you have to be very decisive and precise with every movement you make up at a certain level, and it's fun. I'm enjoying it.
I think there's one thing I really do enjoy about this game in terms of battle mechanics is breaking the defense, breaking the enemy. It's such a satisfying thing when you're able to do it. So much. Now, it sounds like that you're happy that you might never have to stop the grind, so to speak. So thank you for upholding our slogan. There was a couple other games that you've played. Obviously, you played your fair share of Destiny 2, I'm sure, right?
Not as much as Octopath this week, but yes. Touched on Destiny 2 just a little bit to play some of the new forges that was unlocked today.
And just so you could list it on the list here, you know, it's like
just so I could put it on the list. I might as well just take it off the list and talk about it regardless.
It's like we got ties with Bungie, and to a much lesser extent now Activision. Just like they better talk about Destiny today, guys. We're gonna give him bad RNG if he doesn't talk about how great Destiny 2 is today.
Definitely not paying us any money or nothing. So
yeah, are you checking your bank account, Nick?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Just make sure the check clears.
Beyond Destiny 2, I picked up a free game on Steam called Deceit.
We both have, Nick.
Yes.
Yes. You see, this is interesting here for the people that are listening right now. Nick is unsure of what is happening right now because, truth be told, I'm going to tell us a little story. Nick can corroborate as best as he can. Let's say, hypothetically, one night, it's 4 o'clock in the morning for me. I'm getting ready to go to bed because, quite frankly, building blocks on Minecraft is getting a little boring. Everybody that want to play Sea of Thieves with, is passed out or busy and whatnot. And also, I get a message from my friend here, Nick, saying,
"Hi."
Actually, I probably could read it in all caps, but hypothetically, let's just say I got a little message from Nick saying, "Oh boy, what are you doing? Just chilling? How are you doing? You want to play Deceit with me and my buds?" And, I would say 5 minutes later, I was in the group with a bunch of random people. I have no idea who they were. And Nick showed me a whole new world of a game called Deceit. Now, what is Deceit?
Deceit is very much like Talon of Salem and Dead by Daylight mixed into like this one interesting, buggy, free-to-play game.
Very buggy, as we learned. Oh, man.
Basically, there's 6 people put into one, essentially a room, but let's say one stage. You have about, I don't remember what the time limits are, but let's say you have about 90 seconds to find equipment, weapons, ammunition, armor, because 2 of the 6 people are infected. The goal for the infected is to kill everybody, but they can only transform when the lights go out after 90 seconds, and they can only transform once they've drank 6 blood bags. Words are hard.
It's okay. The plural word of strep throat is streep throats, so you don't have to worry.
Once they've drank 6 blood bags, and then they can transform every time it goes dark. Now, after the first stage, when it goes dark, after you have to find fuses to open up the exit. Once you exit and you proceed to the next area, you get more equipment. You can pick up scanners to scan people and check whether they're infected or not. And then you go through another night cycle, dark cycle. Then you escape from that area and move into the final area where you actually have to unlock the exit at the end of the dark cycle and survive through all of that while sitting and trying to figure out who's infected, who's innocent. The infected can play games and lie and blame it on other people, try and frame people. It's
the namesake is very apparent. 3 rounds of sorts where if you're infected, you and one other person must mingle, maybe even help the other players try to escape. However, at the same time, you must also follow your own vendetta of slowly getting the blood bags Nick was talking about. I believe, I thought you only needed 3 when it was during the daytime cycle.
So on the blood stands, there are 2 during the day, and then there's 1 during the night.
Ah, okay. So that makes more sense. Now, mind you, as you're trying to get these blood bags, you got to make sure no one else but the infected, can see that because if they figure out that you've been, chugging some blood bags, that might look a little bad on you. Unless
it also makes a very audible gulp too, so you have to be very mindful of who's around you.
Now, how far away can people hear that?
I actually don't know, but I would say, at least I generally put a room between me and anybody else whenever I drank a blood bag.
Okay, fair enough. It's funny because there was a situation where a player in 5 feet in front of me went and looked at me, looked at the bag, and then chugged the damn thing right in front of me. And then he immediately declared that I started swinging from the bag, and I'm like, what the f? And you can do that. They don't know between the 2 people which one of the 2, but I mean, me being the rookie and having trouble trying to be, deceitful to these other people and trying to, make a good impression on, which this is a god-awful, terrible game to make good first impressions, as it turns out. Thank you, Nick. And in all the meantime, you got to convince. There's moments where need one person to stand on a platform to raise a bell top, so you can grab an item such as a shotgun or a lethal injection. And meanwhile, if you're innocent, you might, another player comes up and say, hey, let me grab this real quick. And they'll grab it. He'll run up and grab a lethal injection. And then 5 minutes later in the final round, that same motherfucker will come around the corner and stab you in the neck with it and kill you instantly. Because it turns out he was infected and he wanted an easy way to score a nice kill. There's also been times where I've watched a YouTube video about this. This was comical, where a person goes up and infect a person with a scanner. A scanner is a one-time use item that'll show if they're infected or not. He goes up to somebody who's innocent, makes sure no one else can see it, and starts shouting, "Oh my God, he's infected! He's infected!" And they just murder this guy down, even though he was flat out innocent. And just shit like this is comical at best, but I get really guilty if I try lying. It messes with me, man. It freaks me out. So then I get dead quiet. And then if I'm dead quiet, everybody knows I'm fucking infected. Hell, it was like I was such a rookie. I think in the second round, they realized I was infected like immediately. So they shot me down. Like, oh, we kind of feel bad for this infected guy. We should let him live. And it's like, okay. Even you, Nick, there's a couple times where you're trying to be helpful with me while slowly plotting my murder. But there's also a couple times where we were together, and it was comical. It was interesting. It was really stressful for the most part because I had no idea who I could trust. And anybody that wanted to be my friend, I was immediately suspicious of. So it's like eventually I just kind of stuck to Nick, whether or not he was infected or not. That way he couldn't do shit. But it was interesting. It was fun.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It was a crash course in meeting some of my friends that I play with regularly. But I figured, you know what? Let's see what happens. And, now you know the game a little bit better.
I mean, I saw all the messages where they were shouting on the Discord, "We need anybody, please come on for a 6th person." So the fact that you're trying to, pin it down like it was a good experience for you to meet my friends. No, you needed a 6, Nick. Don't try to flower this up. Come on.
I didn't force anybody into it. I asked if you wanted to play. You said yes.
I did. And with enough progress, I hope that we can play a little bit more together with your friends. If you want to call them that. I'm suspicious now.
It's the internet. It's easy to lie to people sometimes.
That is very true. And I am a very gullible person. So this is like my worst nightmare game, essentially.
Well, I mean, beyond gullible, these with the game like this, I enjoy it. Like, you've seen how it can get with Town of Salem. And now you've seen how it can get with Deceit, where I have no problem trying to pin it on people, or I'm constantly following people despite being infected for 2 stages, and then all of a sudden I'll turn on people because they've had their defenses lowered and their backs to me.
That's fucked up, man. It's so fucked up. Like, it makes me nervous about you. Like, your qualities as a person now makes me suspect as all hell, man.
What have you been playing, Tyler, beyond Deceit?
I played a couple of mobile games this week. I did have a day where I was driving and I didn't want to bring my Switch because I felt like it was pulling my attention away even during the times we were delivering. And so I tried a couple of new games on the phone. Now, Puyo Puyo is a game that's currently, the rights to it is owned by Sega right now. It's been handled by a bunch of other different companies throughout the years, but Puyo Puyo Tetris being the latest level in the games, or set in the series, I guess. I've really wanted to play some Puyo Puyo. Now, granted, I've tried playing Puyo Puyo Tetris on the Switch, but when you play on the campaign, the first whole level, like 8 different rounds, you can only play Tetris. And that was horrifying to me. I hate Tetris, as it turns out. I'm terrible at it. And I don't see myself wanting to get better, honestly, because it just doesn't seem that much fun.
A quick side note, did you know that Tetris is the best-selling game worldwide of all time?
That is very true, yes.
Okay.
I mean,
I don't know. They just told me about it in class the other day, so I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Let me tell Tyler. Anyways, carry on.
It is absolutely, and hopefully it doesn't increase anymore. Honestly, I would feel better knowing that Fortnite was the best-selling game of all time compared to.
Let's not talk about the devil. This is
okay.
You keep the devil out of my Christian Minecraft servers.
And so I've been looking for a Puyo Puyo on the mobile. Puyo Puyo does not exist on the Android mobile market under the license aspect. Sega has never thrown anything up there like that. I mean, the closest thing I've seen is Capcom's, was it Street Fighter Turbo Puzzle Fighter or something like that? I don't remember what it's called,
sure.
But no, yeah, it's some fancy name. But Puyo Puyo, I just want to play some Puyo Puyo. So I've learned and found a little game, a little Chinese knockoff, and I think it is a legit, literal Chinese knockoff because it's by a Chinese-based company called PayaPaya. PayaPaya. So instead of the UO, it's AA. Anyways, PayaPaya is an interesting and pretty fun game. It brings in a new aspect to how I can play Puyo Puyo because I get to do everything by touchscreen. Now, playing Puyo Puyo normally with a controller, that's very concrete in the control scheme. So when you're trying to mess with things on a touchpad, it gets kind of weird. Moving stuff around, swiping up to send it instantly down, pushing, the side of the screen to rotate it this way or the other side of the screen to rotate it the other way. And it's going to take me a little while to get used to it. But I think there's a good possibility where I could have a really good amount of fun with it. And the nice thing about it is it's completely free, and you are able to play with other people that you know over the phone if you really wanted to. So this brings the possibility of, if I'm going on a ride or, hanging along with somebody and they don't have anything else to do, I could play PayaPaya with them. And I thought that, it's fun. So for those who are interested in, hearing out what the hell I'm talking about, just search it on the Android market. I have no idea about Apple.
It exists on the iOS store. I confirmed the other day.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Another game that I was playing on the mobile market is Destiny, Nick. Destiny. Child. Yes, Destiny 0.5, the child of Destiny. Nick, I got to ask you this question last time, and unfortunately, you now know what the hell is this game. Destiny Child is...
Honestly, I wish I could forget what this game was so you could tell me all about it again and I can rediscover it.
So, humor me with this idea. A few months ago, this game was technically, I think, Korean-based at first, and it's now worldwide released. Yeah. I can't tell you dates or times or anything like that. I saw somebody playing it on Twitch, and I had no idea what the hell it was, but it looked like an interesting JRPG. And so when I discovered it was on the phone, I attempted to download it, and I've fallen into what I can only describe as a Korean-based cesspool of an RPG. And I am trapped, Nick. I need help. I need to get out of this because this could get really dangerous real quick. I haven't hit... there's got to be terms for this kind of stuff where you're playing the game, it's completely free and it's fun and it's a gacha game, but you're gonna hit that wall where you either got to start waiting for huge periods of time or you start paying money. That money wall. I haven't hit that money wall yet, and I've put in a good couple hours into it so far, and man, I'm scared once I hit that because I'm not going to spend money on it. Does it mean I have to quit then at that point? Because
when that happens, you just chuck your phone out the window. It's not worth it.
It just stinks. Just the idea. It's like I at this point, it's like, can you hack a mobile game to just get like if it's just a single player campaign, can you hack a mobile game to where they can't fuck around with you? Now, for those who don't know, Destiny Child, I'm going to give you a very light premise of a story here. You are a floppy looking Colgate emo toothpaste haired motherfucker that just looks like that he like, I'm not a bully type of person, but this is the kind of kid I would beat the shit out of in high school looking motherfucker. He just looks so dopey and such an idiot. And it's like, oh, this is it's like an anime. This is I'm an ordinary normal character in high school. No, this kid is worse than that. Like, he apparently is a demon who came from the infernal realm and went to the human realm because he got sick of all that hellish funk. And so now he is this loser teenager looking fella who lives in a small apartment with a part-time job at a convenience store. And it's like, at this point, it's like, I feel like hell would be worse at this point. Or, sorry, better.
That reminds me of like a knockoff story from The Devil is a Part-Timer.
Yes, the Demon Lord or something like that. Yes, I feel like that is actually a much better story.
That's a much better. It was funny as fuck.
This story cannot redeem itself. He tries paying his electric bill through his phone and apparently signs up in a contract contest to become the next demon lord of all of hell. And it's like,
that'll happen, Tyler. That will happen.
He was like, oh, I must be on my electric bill. I better hit agree. And it's like, boop, okay. And suddenly he gets slapped into his face with this floating, very largely bosomed lady who is apparently going to help him gather an army of childs. Not children, childs. Because childs in this one is the result of a spirit of sorts. Devils like him, especially in this contest, Doodad, are going up to people who want their wishes to come true. And by making a pact with these people, deal with the devil and all that stuff, they take a small portion of the person's soul in completing the task, and they turn that into like a warrior-like spirit. Now, Nick, do you remember about the first person you tried to make a pact with?
Was it a nurse?
This poor, lonely woman who was just sick of being a nurse. It was such a drag in her life. She wanted something new and a little bit more exciting. And so you make a pact with her, trying to make life a little bit more exciting for her in some shape or form. Now, you know how devils are. They say they're going to do that, but then they'll find some wild coerced sideway way of like, it's like, I want to be filthy rich. So they make them dirty and make them rich with sadness or something like that. And so it's like, you're filthy.
Make him a dirty Richard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's funny. They rename him legally into Richard and then just cover him with like cobwebs and shit. Nice one, Nick. Hell, you could make a good devil. Hell, I should know that just by watching you play Deceit. Anyways,
I don't know what you're talking about.
You go into this person's psyche, almost a la Persona style, where you're trying to sort through their emotions and stuff and find the child that is hiding within. Because apparently they materialize after that, and you're trying to capture them. And somehow this solves the wish part too at the same time. I don't know how. And so the child, mind you, is at least between 18 and 25 years old, for legal sake.
I would hope
this
so.
Giant nurse-looking genie who's called a succubus. And of course, as you would say, of course it was a fucking succubus. That is, the child inside this bored, lonely nurse lady. And she's riding on like a lot of certain things, I guess. I would say a rocket, but it's a giant syringe that's filled with milky white liquid. I would not want whatever was in there stuck inside me. Let's put it that way. Oh, man. And you defeat her, she joins you, and it's like, how do you fight these people? Well, you can have up to 5 childs in your team, and each one of them has a different role. One might be attack, one might be tankier, one might be healing, and one might be statuses or stuff like that. And so I have multiple different people on my team beating the shit out of like waves of enemies in each chapter. And of course, there's a health system between the two of them. You can do slide skills, which is like a cooldown based attack. You can do tap skills, which just does boosted attacks. And then you got like super mega skills and all the good Japanese good shit.
Right.
And so I'm just burning through waves after waves of characters, I guess. And I'm trying to figure out how they catch all these players to be interested in this kind of game. And I think what I discovered, and I didn't mention this last time, is you can interact and upgrade all these childs. Now, mind you... Yes. This goes in that direction. Now, mind you, I have one male child so far, but all the other characters, for some reason, like every single one, are women.
I wonder why.
Yeah. And I guess by interacting with these people, they'll give you like story plots, almost Fire Emblem style, to raise their rank. And I haven't seen anything like wildly dirty or perverted yet, but every single time you interact with the character, it just sounds like the beginning of a cheesy anime rom-com at this point. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, I see where we're going. I'm sure by the time I raise it from rank B to A, they'll be smooching or something like that and saying, I love you, you weird cold-haired bastard. And it's like, I love you too, mysterious spirit that I haven't totally paid money for. And it's like, okay, cool, awesome, fantastic. So I'm guessing that's
this is a gotcha dating sim then.
There totally is dating potential in this. I'm very sure about that. It stinks because the girl that you see in the main picture, I don't even remember what her name is, but she looked interesting. She looked powerful. She looked like she was going to have fun. And she has such a minor, non-existent role in this whole damn game that's kind of disappointing. Like, if even the profile picture of this game is a bait and switch at this point, and then they just give me this horrifying okay, this character is maybe not horrifying, but I realized that this game is such smutty perversion that it's like, why am I even playing this? And it's like, I tell myself it's for the RPG. I mean, every single, like, you know, there's always a character in anime or manga, you know, for us weeaboos, they're like, oh, wow, that's my waifu or some shit like that. It's like, oh, yeah, you know, I got that character you just can't help but really liking. I haven't found that character yet. And that's kind of scary. It's like, what does that mean? Does that mean I've turned normal? Because I want to go back into my decrepit filth of Japanese culture.
Well, I mean, if it helps, it's a Korean game.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Just the way that all the characters are drawn and moving around and stuff, it just freaks me out. It's like kneecaps
very
should
much
not bend
screams
that way.
like you know, Black Desert Online. Do you know what I mean? Like kind of. Like
I have no idea what that is.
Do you know what Black Desert Online is?
No.
Well, I've never played it, but it's like it's an MMO RPG basically. But I don't know. It looks like a lot to get into. It's completely free. No, it's not free. Maybe it's free, but it's not very expensive. But it's this massive growing thing, and there are some very suggestive characters and character creation options. Yeah.
Go on. Yes, Nick.
Basically, you can have somebody who aerodynamically shouldn't move as fast as they should.
That's a way. That's a word. That's a phrase. Are you okay there, Nick? Because I feel like you're afraid of stepping on a press release landmine at this point.
I'm just trying to figure out the appropriate way to word it, but as you were talking about
these are games of depravity.
I downloaded it.
Wait, you downloaded Destiny's Child?
Yes.
Oh, you poor soul.
Like just as you were talking. I haven't opened it yet. I'm probably going to open and delete it immediately, but...
Now, did you just download it like straight from the store, or did you open it to download the full game? Because I'm guessing there's multiple gigabytes worth of game data.
It was like 65 megabytes, so I haven't opened it yet.
Okay, so you have a good minute. So if you legit want to actually try this horrifying game, go right ahead, but you're going to have to wait at least a half hour or so. I mean, depending on how good your Wi-Fi or phone signal is. Other than that, I've been playing a little game called Sea of Thieves. I'd like to think that I'm a bit of a pirate myself, personally. I played with you, Nick.
We played a little bit.
We played a little bit. And Nick, I'm going to say on the air, I'm sorry too. Will you forgive me?
No, that's fine. Don't worry about it, dude.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, also, I want to point out, last week I talked about how within 5 minutes of playing with Brandon, the Kraken attacked us immediately. The moment I play with Nick for the first fucking time, we leave the port, and sure as shit, within spitting distance of the dock, we get immediately attacked by the goddamn Kraken.
But we won.
We won. Not only did we manage to fight it off, we won. We got a treasure worth 500 gold. It was fantastic. It was actually, you know, it was
about the victory more than anything else. Like 500 gold is practically nothing, but it was just purely the fact that we survived.
Yeah, we did. And then
somehow,
then we proceeded to attack a galleon that was pretty well decked out. So we knew the players at least spent more than like 2 hours playing the game. And I don't know how many players was on it. I'm guessing up to 4 at least.
There were at least 3.
At least 3. So us and our 2-man sloop versus this giant ass galleon. Of course, I'm just wanting to keep my own business. I want to find gold and stuff. But Nick sees sales and he's like, okay, that sales don't need, they need to go down. And
mind you, I'm a PvP heavy player, and this is my first time playing the game.
Yes, you are.
8 months, 9 months, and so I'm like, I just want to have fun. And for me, fun is going and messing with other people, and we scared them off. Those people did not want to fight us because they couldn't. You're too good on the cannon, and I was too good with the gun on their ship.
It was just weird because the first time you got on their ship, you were like, "Oh, they're saying, do you really want to have this fight?" And by God, we fucking fought for like 10, 15 minutes. We did end up like trying to leave the fight because I ran out of fucking cannonballs.
That I think did we run into the storm? Was it that fight?
That was actually a fight later on in the day.
Oh, was the little sloop? Was the one-man sloop?
Yes.
Fuck
So
that guy.
we duked it out
guy.
with the galleon. The galleon couldn't hit us for shit. We kept beating. Nick kept murdering, and then I kept hitting the ship, but they were obviously able to repair it. I ran out of cannonballs, and I was like, well, either I ram them and I just sink ourselves, or we just live the fight another day. So we left. They tried chasing us, realized they could not chase us by any stretch of the imagination, and so they just kind of buggered off. And then later on in our little adventure, we went to a base with I think we did a mission to gather chickens and stuff. I don't remember what. No, I don't remember what we did.
I don't think it was the same sessions. It was the first session where I think we were just roaming around still, and then we saw a sloop at an outpost, and then we're like, all right, we just go straight for it.
And of course, I was worried that Nick wanted to just sink the ship to say, welcome to fucking Sea of Thieves, motherfucker. And we both agreed that let's try peace. Let's be peaceful, have fun. We hopped on. Nick was hanging out over there with his fucking accordion out or something. And this guy is flat out ignoring him, which I cannot blame him, because he's like, maybe if I ignore them, they'll leave us alone. Of course, if you ignore a very loud chihuahua, the chihuahua will continue to make sure that his presence is known. He takes off. I'm like, motherfucker, I need cannonballs. So I jump on his ship, drop his anchor on him, and loot cannonballs, and then hop off. Meanwhile, Nick is still trying to play the peaceful person. He's a good cop. I'm the guy that's like looting cop, bad cop. And, I make back to our ship with more cannonballs because I'm an asshole. And this guy, takes off again and begins shooting at Nick, forcing Nick off the ship.
Motherfucker stabs me. He pulls out his sword and he stabs me. And I'm like, all right, now fuck this guy. Now we have to chase him down. And he, for a single person manning that little sloop, he did well. He stayed right ahead of us, changing the angle of his sails, piloting whatever. He did well.
Nick viciously declared that we had to now chase him down because he was not friendly, even though he had every right to be hostile. Nick, we stole his shit.
No, you stole his shit. I was just standing there with, I think it was my lantern out. Okay. And I was just shining some light in his face. I was just trying to illuminate his way, his world. I was just trying to be helpful.
Okay, let's say hypothetically, this is a real world situation. Some guy's trying to get into his car. You're standing on top of his car playing the harmonica. I come up, he's trying to leave. I come up, slam his car into park, loot his glove compartment for spare change, and I leave. And you're still up there playing your goddamn harmonica. I'm looking at you saying, "Hey, brother, thanks. Hey, nice harmonica. Come see me later." Some shit. Do you think this guy's gonna like? Hey, mate, you want to have a conversation? No, he's gonna fucking floor it.
See, no, that's fine, but I don't think that was stabbing worthy. I feel like he should have pulled out his gun, and he should have just aimed it at me, scare me off a little bit. Then I would have backed off. He just went straight to the stabbing. I would have backed. No, I would have shot him. I would have shot back.
You're trying to play diplomacy with a fucking gunpowdered weapon in your hand. And so we chased after him, I'm guessing for a good half hour, just following him. At this point, it was such a slow chase. I was eating my supper while we did this. And then he was heading straight into a monsoon. And I asked Nick, I was like, we shouldn't do this. Just we're going to get sunk just trying to chase after this guy. And there's no win in that.
Yeah, so I conceded, and I'm like, all right, yeah, let's just turn away. And he, brave soul, went straight into the storm.
He tried following us for a second. I'm not sure what was up with that, but he kind of turned around and said, fuck it. And I believe at this point we end up encountering like a pirate ship of sorts that wanted everything to do with us. I don't know what the order of the events was, but I do specifically remember later on, we turned around, we started heading in a direction, and we saw a galleon again. I'm like, oh, well, Nick sees the galleon, Nick needs the galleon dead. So we go on, and it's the same fucking ship as before.
Oh, yeah, it was the same people. Yeah.
It was the same people we were messing with an hour and a half to 2 hours earlier that was very upset with us.
Oh, no, it's because so after we turned away from the storm, we see the galleon heading towards an outpost. And then we decided to set chase, and then they turned away from the outpost as we were chasing them because they had treasure. And then so I swung right by the dog. You hopped off. There was a guy who hopped off with a chest. And
I
then
fucking sniped him and stabbed him, took his chest, and then cashed it in for us.
And so I just kept harassing them, following them to keep them away from an outpost. And Tyler caught up eventually. One of them snuck on board, and then he started spawn killing me. And so that wasn't fun.
I'm
but,
sorry.
But, you know, that's, you know, what goes around comes around. I could take it. We got away with one of their chests. They probably weren't too happy about it. And that's good enough for me.
The poor souls, they didn't want anything to do with us ever. And we just kept coming in like the fucking butt wipes that we were. Not only did we...
You know why, Tyler?
Why, Nick?
Because we're pirates.
Yarr. We are pirates of the internet. Cyberspace we go. Yar, yar. We take what we please. Surfing down the cyberspaces and free parking. I know. Har, har. No?
That doesn't get edited into something. I'm going to be sorely disappointed.
That song is completely made up by me a very long time ago, and I just feel like it was fitting, a very long time ago.
But yeah, no, I think I got my fair share of like fucking with people, going out of my way to try and antagonize people. Also, it's very difficult with a smaller ship.
Yeah, it totally is. Honestly, I'm debating whether or not we should try to just two-man a galleon at this point, just to see what it would be like, because one thing I noticed is we both can't shoot at them at the same time while, just leaving the steep, so if we could just at least do a brigadier for two cannons on the top and the one side, that would be fantastic. But also, I like to criticize you a lot in the game. And it's in such a way, like, I'll ask Nico, like, did you just do this? Did you just do that? Did you just fall off the ship? Did you just,
I feel like it'd probably be in the same manner as, if I were to play Destiny with you on PC. Purely because you've put a lot more time into this game, and what works, what's efficient, and then if you come over to Destiny and then you start doing things where it's kind of like, are you fucking kidding me, Tyler? Are you fucking level 25? What's going on here?
It just there's a lot of things that you do like that threw me off. Like, are you, like, for example, when we went for the fort, you were heading dead on towards the two main towers of the island, and they're firing at you. I'm like, what are you doing, Nick?
In my defense, the last time I did a fort, I had a full group of people, and there were the two guys who knew exactly what to do. So all they told me was, stand by the anchor. I'm like, all right, boss, I'm ready. And so they're like, so I believe the one guy, as we were making our approach, probably in a similar position to where we made our approach, went hard left. He's like, drop the anchor. One person shot himself at a tower on the left side. One person shot himself at a tower on the right side. And I was just there on anchor duty. So I'm like, I have no experience.
Fair enough, Nick. Fair enough. I also discovered that rowboats exist, and you can attach them to the back of the ship. So that's a fun. Yeah, you could. I watched a stream of somebody who completed a fort by himself with nothing but a rowboat, and threw it all on this rowboat, and just went to the nearest outpost. It was god awful slow, but it was stealthy as all hell. Just imagine this tiny boat with 20,000 gold worth of treasure just sitting on it. And, he's throwing it onto the shore and then running it up. And some guy just randomly, stumbled on it. And he pulled out his gun and pointed out that this giant-ass barrel and says, don't you dare fucking touch a single thing of it. And it scared the guy off. And it's like, I can't blame him. It's vicious. But yeah, you could totally get up, find a rowboat on an island, you can row it around to the back of the ship, attach it and detach it as you see fit, and you can use that instead of getting so close to dispatch and get treasure on a lot easier.
Okay.
But so that's pretty much been all that I've been playing. Let's talk about the big discussion this week, Nick. Some things happened, man.
Salvation found us.
Salfucking-vation, is that what you're gonna call it? Okay.
Guardians make their own fate. That was a line from the Vault of Glass, the first raid in Destiny 1, where after, at the end mechanic of the boss fight, once you complete a certain mechanic to actually enter the damage phase against the final boss, a message pops up with Guardians make their own fate, which is coincidentally some of the same was the message that a lot of the people who work at Bungie tweeted as well. Bungie has split from Activision.
Yes, they have.
Hallelujah.
And they kept Destiny too, specifically. I guess we should say that with all level of detail. Destiny's fate is now entirely in Bungie's hands, with little to no outside influence beyond that of the player base. So this is gonna lead to a lot of interesting results, Nick.
So a lot of our information for our discussion today is coming from Kotaku, from a Kotaku article written by Jason Schreier, and some bits of information borrowed here and there from official announcements from Destiny and Activision. The first big thing, not necessarily the only big thing or the first big thing, but Destiny will stay on the Blizzard launcher,
which is weird, but I guess that makes sense, right?
I mean, I think it'd be just thinking about it. About how much time and effort it would take to change a lot of these systems over. It's probably not worth anybody's money. I mean, it's easy for Blizzard to just remove it from the Blizzard store itself, but then a lot of the anti-cheat software is like Destiny uses Blizzard software, and so trying to figure out who gets what in this split would probably be a lot of time, effort, and money that nobody wants, especially Activision, considering that they decided to cut costs recently and they're forcing Blizzard to make a few decisions.
Now, interesting question is, do you think there's any kind of split going to the publisher for still hosting the servers to sell that? Like how Steam and Epic does it. They, Epic has, I think, the 88-12 split. Do you think Activision still is going to try to charge Bungie for every purchase?
Honestly, I don't know. Really at this point it's a waiting game with a lot of things. One of the things is we don't really know the true nature of Activision Bungie's relationship beyond the publisher developer relationship. It's good speculation, and there's good cause for the speculation that a lot of the microtransactions and a lot of the scummy monetization schemes in Destiny 2 and Destiny 1 were a direct result of Activision's influence. Setting strict release deadlines, strict needing to have like content drops regularly was probably Activision's influence. For example, the last DLC before Destiny 2, Rise of Iron, was supposed to be Destiny 2. That was supposed to be the start of Destiny 2.
Huh. Oh, I didn't know that.
There was, honestly, this doesn't remove any this doesn't remove Bungie from the problems that Destiny 2 has faced. It takes a big chunk away from them, but Bungie is still at fault for some design decisions that they made and some of the things that they decided to go forward with the game. That still falls on Bungie, but what the argument now is, the sentiment being shared on social media is more hopeful than blind. Activision's gone, the evil's been defeated, Bungie, Destiny's saved. It's more of a hopeful sentiment that now Bungie is truly responsible, like 100% responsible if they fuck up.
And so does this mean if Destiny 2 or the Destiny franchise, if it starts to go into a sour section here, does that mean Bungie is screwed at this point? What happens?
I don't think Bungie's screwed because last year in July, I believe they got $100 million infusion from NetEase to work on a new IP. So Bungie still has that to fall back on, but the Destiny might be dead as we know it, depending on how things play out. We probably will not see anything happen in the short term because the next few months of content have already been planned, and I think in a time of I don't want to say turmoil, but in a time of turbulence like this, where everybody's trying to figure out what's happening and there's a split that's going on, that they have something stable to fall back on. And I think they're going to stick with that. And I think they should. I think they should take the time to figure out what they want to do, because I'd rather there be proper content, things properly thought out and released, rather than something pushed out hastily just because something needs to be out.
Right. No one wants a rushed product like that, but at the same time, the longer you make somebody wait, the more they want to complain. So it's almost a lose-lose situation at that point.
It is very much a lose-lose situation, and the only thing you can do in that at that point is really just communicate what's going on, which Bungie has been notoriously bad for until Forsaken, where they got a little bit better with it, where they're constantly giving us, going back and forth with the community in regards to feedback on how the game is and what we want out of the game.
I've never seen it personally. do you feel like there might be a level of toxicity amongst the player base that might discourage them from continuing to do that?
Oh, 100%. But that's honestly, I think that's the case with everything.
That's
but it
true.
also
It's
depends,
just
it just depends also on where they're taking their information from. And I don't think Bungie are idiotic enough to just rely solely on their forums and on Reddit, because the forums, in terms of like how toxic the online community can get, the Bungie forums and the Reddit, Destiny Reddit are up there. They're two of the saltiest places on earth where nobody can even stop for a moment and think that, all right, Bungie tried something different in regards to something that they released a week ago. Bungie tried something different. It didn't go over well, and then everybody was just hating on Bungie rather than be like, "This is why I didn't like this," rather than providing constructive feedback or feedback that was, sound feedback, a reasonable feedback, because not everything's going to be a success. And so, I think Bungie is getting a system down now where they're having summits or trying to have summits regularly, and I believe there is one coming up. I don't know if I'm supposed to know about it or even if it's true.
Secret hot takes.
But it's a waiting game right now, Tyler.
Oh boy, I love waiting games, especially when it comes to indecision for one of, well, in your case, one of your favorite franchises. It just stinks that because just thinking about it, some people don't even know what they want when it comes to Destiny. Developers don't know what the player base. I mean, they do, but it's like if they just keep putting out like generic stuff in the direction that people want, then people are like, "Oh no, we wanted something more specific than this. Carve us out this," and it's like they don't have time for stuff like that. I'm not sure how big of a company Bungie is specifically, but it's just like without Big Daddy Activision bucks, I feel like it's going to be a little bit more difficult to keep such a large company afloat and produce that much content. But I don't know. I have no idea what the sales records are going to be like.
I feel like, this was a long time coming, I think. And if the fact that they were able to do it, I want to say that they think they can survive, because any rational person wouldn't make a decision like this if they knew that they wouldn't survive a week without this kind of cash that Activision's giving them. So I feel like Bungie should be fine for a little bit. And again, it's a waiting game. I just want to be hopeful, but I also want to be cautious because I have been burned before with when I pre-ordered Destiny 2 and the first year pass, and all those expansions were garbage. And you're also absolutely right in the player base not knowing what they want, because Destiny 2 base game, the first year was very stale. It was way too easy. It was made for casual players, which is fine, but you have to do something to reward your hardcore gamers, and that's what Destiny 1 did, or at least it had some facets to it that rewarded the hardcore gamers by giving casual gamers these specific things, and hardcore players these specific things. And so I'm losing myself there. What was I trying to say?
Very good
casual.
Question. Master Quest.
They made the first year of Destiny 2 was very casual. Forsaken introduced grindy elements to the game. People started complaining. People were complaining in Destiny Year 1, the game's too casual, I need more grind. Grind was introduced, people started complaining, the game is too grindy, I need more casual.
Isn't it fun?
It's a lot of fun, so I just hope that things work out. But I'm very interested to see what's going to happen development-wise, because Vicarious Visions and High Moon Studios did a lot of work, and these are studios owned by Activision, for Destiny and Destiny 2. Vicarious Vision specifically helped with the PC port for Destiny 2, and so I don't know how this split's going to affect their relationship, whether they'd be allowed to even continue working. It's interesting. It's a good sign for independent developers out there that they can make it work and that they can stand up for themselves, because I believe at the end of towards the end of last year, Activision put out a statement saying that we're not completely happy with the performance of Destiny 2 Forsaken economically. It didn't meet our sales quota, and Bungie, in very, very nice words, very paraphrased this coming from me, go fuck yourself, we're happy with it, we're going to keep doing this.
I believe they said they were happy with their sales records, not anything along the lines of go fuck yourselves. But yeah, sure. Jeez, Nick, you're trying to throw the heat there right on the spot. Good mercy, man.
EA and Activision, two of the scummiest companies, in my opinion. Changed my mind.
Wait, which two? EA
and Activision.
Well, no. I why would I change your mind? That's objectively true.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's. I'm glad. I'm happy about this.
Agreement or just the whole split in general?
Just the whole split in general. Like I feel like it should have happened. It's going to mean hopefully it means the end of PlayStation exclusives, because a lot of the PlayStation exclusives, be it weapons, maps, certain kinds of gear, weapons, armor, we were time gated out of that for a year, which I find is fucking bullshit.
I'm sorry, Nick, but the master race for PlayStation 4 deserves its rights.
Oh yeah, sure. Content. As if the PlayStation doesn't have good enough games already.
I mean, if there's any group of player bases for Destiny you should feel sorry for at this point, it's probably the Xbox community. It just feels like they don't get enough love. The player base is apparently a fraction of what the PlayStation and by a much larger extent the PC.
Yeah, because why would you when you can get exclusives by playing on the PS4 when it's the same exact experience playing between the two consoles, and you get more exclusive by paying the same amount of money, and that we're time gated out of a year for it. It's I'm not too happy about I've never been happy about the exclusivity, but it never bothered me because a lot of the times the weapons ended up being shit. What bothered me was the fact that we were paying the same price
and we got more.
Yeah,
that could totally burn somebody's britches, depending on your view, but in this case I'm referring to the cloth pants, the britches. Mm-hmm. They have been burnt. Okay, fair enough. Is there anything else you want to talk about besides final? Let's say, what's your final word on this?
Realistically, don't expect anything short term. Expect to see something happen either towards the end of the year, around September, October, when content usually drops again. New DLC usually drops. Maybe we'll see something there, or we move straight into Destiny 3. At the start,
that's a jump. That's a jump. I mean,
at the start of the franchise, before Destiny 1 launched, they talked about how they wanted it to be a 10, 12-year long experience, the whole franchise. And so we are, I think we're approaching 5 years into this, or we are into the 5th year of our Destiny journey. And I think, honestly, this happens a lot with a lot of my projects as well. Just starting fresh might be more beneficial than anything. Their PvE team has been fantastic in the last few months, but their PvP team has been doing absolutely nothing. They either need to get their heads out of their asses and tell us what's going on and actually make some changes to make the game more viable at a competitive level, or they need to get the fuck out and find somebody else to actually do the job. Also, I don't know what happens at the development stage, so I might be talking out my ass for all I know, but that's how I, as a player, feel in regards to PvP.
It sounds like you have, what's the term? You call it Dermot root or something like that? What was the name of the root that you said you were taking to help with your sinuses?
What was that? Turmeric.
Turmeric, yes. Yeah. Sounds like you have a lot of that because you were spicy as fuck right there. Hot damn. Better watch out.
But, that's all I have to say about that. Thank you, Jason Schreier.
And thank you, Jason Schreier of the Kotaku article. He's said a couple of interesting, not really controversial, but everybody makes some of the shit he says controversial for some reason. Because everybody wants to have an argument. But game releases coming out this week. We have Onimusha Warlords coming out for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on the 15th, which I believe is Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct.
Yes, that I am. Thank you. I am. Maybe not so much of a big shock, but a little bit of something that gives me confused feelings. Telltale's The Walking Dead, the final season, episode 3, Broken Toys, is coming out on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Also coming out this Tuesday. Now, mind you, this is the next step in the game that came out since the near destruction of the company at this point, losing...
Practically, I'm pretty sure they're dead, but...
Yeah, the company's gone.
The only thing I wish from this game is purely that some of the sales goes towards paying, giving money to the actual development team and none of the executives, because fuck them. Pieces of shit put hundreds of people out of their jobs, didn't pay them enough, worked them hard for them to get away with money. No.
Do you think they're gonna actually do that?
I don't know what's gonna happen.
I don't know either.
It's I hope that class action lawsuit goes through.
Me too. Next up, coming out on the 17th, which is this Thursday. Excuse me. Why? I'm still trying to figure this one out. Is it YIIK? Y11K? I guess it's Y. It could be Y2K, which would be interesting. Maybe it is Y2K. I don't know, but it's WII. Sorry, YW. I can't even fucking speak. YIIK.
I'm trying to figure it out. It looks like it's YIIK.
Trying to spell it is YIIK. Jeez. A postmodern RPG coming out on PS4, Switch, and PC. No love for the Xbox One. Don't know anything about it beyond the fact it's an RPG. I'm guessing it's postmodern, and the name is YIIK. Coming out on the 18th, which is this Friday, we have 2 games. First one is Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown, which is a fantastic flight battle simulator of sorts. It has a very good, strong history, especially on the PlayStation 4 personally. Best friend loves the hell out of that game, and like I said, it's coming out on PS4 and Xbox One. But for the Nintendo Switch, we have our second game, which is Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes. Now, if I remember correctly, No More Heroes is a unique game that came out on the Nintendo Wii. I'm not sure if it got ported for the Wii U, but some reason this is making a return. It's coming back, and after all this time, it's coming out on the Nintendo Switch. It's really throwing me off.
It's a whole new game, according to who's this? Goichi Suda.
Sure.
Yeah, from Grasshopper Manufacture. They're the developers and publishers with Nintendo as a third-party title, basically.
Okay. I will take your word for it. I've never touched the game, so I really don't have any strong opinions for or against it. So take that for what you will. You want to tell us about this day in gaming for Monday, January 14th?
We've got a couple of games on this list.
Yeah, we do.
At the top, Slime Rancher. It came out on PC in 2015. Amanda plays Slime Rancher, doesn't she?
Yes, Amanda, my wife, loves the hell out of a Slime Rancher, and it's such a weird thing because I'm pretty sure it's like either $20 or $30, and it's never gone on sale despite how popular it is, which sounds awfully like the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Yeah, people love and die by Slime Rancher. You can only imagine what people would do for the Breath of the Wild. Unfortunately, there are some poor lost souls out there that feel like instead of spending the money rightfully for its hard-earned efforts of this game, they'd rather just go for a sale and buy a potentially a good game, but maybe not so much. But that is people's opinions, and I strongly respect it. But Slime Rancher, anyways, came out for the PC. It's a fun, happy-go-lucky kind of game. So give it a look if you really like it. 3 years. Happy birthday.
Next up on the list is Mirror's Edge that came out.
So, Nick, why didn't you get Breath of the Wild yet? You keep saying it's
purely
$90.
because of the price.
Yeah, but you got Christmas money and all that stuff. Why didn't you tell your mom or something? What's going on?
I don't
here?
celebrate Christmas. I just get the same amount of money I get every month.
I see. I shouldn't have gotten you the headset. I should have gotten you fucking Breath of the Wild. It breaks my heart, man. It breaks my heart.
I'm gonna get it and play through it eventually. I already put in the week that I had it. I put something like 20 hours into it. I don't hate it.
Mirror's Edge came out on PC in 2009, eh?
So I don't know if this is commonplace in malls, or at least like big places. Like I'm trying to figure out what the best example would be, but we have like these hypermarkets that just have like electronics, groceries, toiletries all in one. So like think of Costco, but not in bulk.
Okay.
And so they'd have TV set up with PlayStations or Xboxes where you could play some games, like try them out or whatever. And Mirrors, that there was one mall that I'd constantly go to because it's just like outside my house, and then I'd go there in the evenings after I'm done with school. This was way back when, and then I'd just go and watch people play Mirror's Edge, or I'd play Mirror's Edge. It at the time graphically was a beautiful game, and I've never actually played it, but happy birthday, Mirror's Edge, I guess.
So you're telling me that you put a large number of hours playing and watching it, but you still won't buy it?
Yeah, because
Nick.
my parents were picky with video game. Do you know what it's like to grow up in a household? And you do know what
Yes,
it's like.
I do.
You do know
I
what
hope
it's
so.
like. You
No,
do,
I was born in a
where-
hole with a cloth over the covers.
where I could only get a
My
video
door
game
was
once
made out
every
of
4 or
rocks
5
and
months.
mortar.
My parents refused to buy me other games because it cut into my studies too much. So I only get a new game once every 4 or 5 months. That's why I've not actually played a lot of the games that a lot of people have played, and that's why people are surprised. And we're like, "Oh, you've never played insert game here."
Oh, Nick, you need to try this game and then watch this anime or watch this show on Netflix.
That's the reason I've never played GTA is because my parents would never let me get the money to buy the game.
I honestly, I think my dad would have been okay with it, but I just never liked them in general. They're just,
Yeah.
I beat 5, so I mean, I guess there's something to it, but it's just, ugh. But anyways, yes, Breath of the Wild came out in 2017, Game of the Year. Not, this day in gaming, but much love. Anyways, Burnout 3, Takedown. Nick, you have a lot of good feelings, happy energy for this game.
I love this game.
It came out for the
So
360 this day in 2008.
Actually, let me just look this up really quickly. Burnout 3, whether it's before or after Revenge. Burnout 3 is in fact after Revenge, and Revenge was the first Burnout game that I ever played, and it introduced the concept of getting revenge by crashing the person who just crashed you, and Burnout 3 just builds up on that. And then I believe the next one after that was Burnout Paradise, which in my opinion was open world but not as good.
I see. I'd like to disagree, but that's okay. That is okay. I'm pretty sure Burnout Paradise came out much sooner than 2008. I'm just putting that
Actually,
out
here we have a bit of a discrepancy here.
What's
Burnout
going
3
on here?
Takedown came out in 2004, but it came out on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. So Burnout 3 Takedown coming out in 2008
For the 360.
makes sense. And so that makes sense.
PlayStation always taking those exclusivity deals.
Well, no, it came out on it was a next gen console, so it came out much later.
I'm just messing with you, Nick.
Oh, okay. No.
Can you see
mind.
what year Burnout Paradise comes in?
Burnout Paradise launched 2008.
So it came out the same year that Burnout 3 Takedown came?
Apparently, yeah.
Although, I mean, no, that came out for the 360. So Burnout Paradise came much, much later than the actual origins of Burnout 3. So I guess that would make sense. Huh. I did not know that.
That's why it was strange when I saw that on the list. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that Burnout 3 is a lot older than Revenge. Not a lot, by 2 years. But anyways, honestly, I had some of the most fun with those games playing with my buds when I was growing up, because my mom would never let me buy that game. Yeah.
Burnout Paradise Remastered. I'm not sure if it came out last year or the year before, but that was a fantastic game to play on the PlayStation 4. I kind of wish I gave it more time. But next up on the list, Nick, we have a couple of history events for companies. What's happening over here, man?
We have THQ Incorporated acquiring Big Huge Games in 2008. This was a strange acquisition because we've researched Big Huge Games a little bit.
Yes, and if I remember correctly, they only had one game that came out, and it was for the Android, I believe, a mobile market kind of game.
And so I don't know if this was the foreshadowing of a series of events that would eventually lead to THQ's downfall, because as we know that happened, and now they've been resurrected as THQ Nordic, working on Darksiders 3, which was mildly successful. Better than... worse than they were hoping for, but better than bad.
It just feels like weird for the toy headquarters company to just buy a game like this, or buy a company rather, a developer. Just there was no set reason as far as we're aware, because to this day, Big Huge Games has not made a second game since it got bought out in 2008. So I have no idea what was the purpose of this. And then a few years later, THQ, as Nick said, bit the dust. It was ugly, but hey, I mean, weird things or worse things have happened, like Fallout 76. Anyways,
let's not open up that box.
So we have opened up enough can of worms. Ubisoft ended up buying a company that was over in Japan. It was one of their first bases over in Japan, called now Ubisoft Nagoya. Originally, it was known as Digital Kids Company Limited. They were known for games mostly involving the Pet series, PETZ. So when you think of pets and all that stuff, this would be the company that would be in charge of it. So was it? I believe it was the Nintendo DS that all those games mostly came on. And so getting to play with your puppies and kitties and farm animals and all that stuff. It was made by this, which then the company got bought up by Ubisoft. And I believe to this day, they've been making pets games and other simple stuff like that. They've kind of gone down and very quiet. I haven't really heard anything from Ubisoft over in Japan because when you think of Ubisoft games, it's usually over in like Montreal or over in the European side. So
right.
It's been a very long time since we heard Ubisoft Japan say anything. So I'm curious on what's going on over there right now. But yeah, that happened in 2008, so it's been 11 years since they've been bought out, and it's gone really quiet.
Well, let's hope. Let's only hope for the best. Ubisoft is up there with some of my unfavorable publishers.
Yes, I believe in this wild poll you made out of your ass. You ranked it 4th, I believe.
Sure.
Well, you said Activision and EA. I'm guessing holding hands at first place. Who would you say is number 3?
That's a good question.
For me, I would probably say like Bethesda or something like that.
Right, that was the third. It was Bethesda. There we go.
Okay.
Their name was escaping me. Yeah, it was Bethesda and then Ubisoft.
And then you threw Ubisoft, which really threw me in the loop. I'm like, really, Ubisoft? I mean, you really don't hear that much. For me, I feel like 4th probably for me would be Square Enix, but that's because they've just been doing a lot of weird shit in acquisition
lately. Yeah.
I mean, nothing so publicly, just a lot of mild grumblings on the internet forums. Sorry, Final Fantasy fans. Coming out in 1992 for the Game Boy in Japan. Qbert.
So I watched Wreck-It Ralph. No, the sequel to Wreck-It Ralph recently. And Qbert was in it, and I recognized him because of this.
And I recognize Qbert from the movie known as Pixels, a Adam Sandler starred movie, which makes me sad because in the section we record for this, I'll never get seen the light of day. We had so much good to talk about. Billy Zane as the voice actor of Ansem from Kingdom Hearts. Mm-hmm. So much Kingdom Hearts talk. Oh man, good times. But yes, Qbert came out in 1992 this day. Coming out in 1987, Nick.
Oh, we're going way back.
This was before I was born at this point, so you can't throw the history books at me at this point. So you better watch out, mister. You better watch what you say.
Yeah, you got it, old man.
Okay, young fellow. Zelda 2 came out for the Famicom. I believe it came out later for the NES over in the stateside. But this would have been the day that it came out for over in Japan. So its first big release. Today is the day and the birthday of Zelda 2. It is now officially. What's up?
Where does Zelda 2 place in your rankings?
Are you talking about as like games I enjoyed of the Zelda franchise?
Yes.
I would probably. It's not very high, I'm afraid.
Okay,
as
fine.
A general stigma of that has always been poor at best. So, there's a couple of people like Zelda 2 is an okay game, and those people don't last too long in alleyways. So, Zelda 2 it's not that great of a game. It tried an idea, it did not work out so well. It was before I was even born, so it's like it didn't really have much of an effect on me. But a lot of fans were kind of scorned by it just a little bit. But then they redeemed it with games like Link's Awakening and Link to the Past. And those heavy hitters, came on the field both for the Super Nintendo and then the Game Boy. And so I think they got right back on track. They recovered very well with it. But with a lot of games, in regards to Nintendo's first-party franchises, the second game is usually really weird. For example, Zelda 2. Or Super Mario Brothers 2, where Mario is in this dream world, doing this weird ass shit with very wonky looking enemies and all that stuff. But then, a lot of people might have had harsh feelings about that. But then they got right on track with Mario Brothers 3, which is beloved by a lot of people.
Right.
And I guess another example would probably be Donkey Kong, I guess. Donkey Kong Jr. was really weird as a game, but that was still technically an arcade game at that point. And then I would like to think that they recovered with Donkey Kong Country. And Kirby. I think Kirby was just normal, good the entire time. I believe it wasn't until the third game that Kirby was introduced to the taking in an ability and then being able to use their enemies' attacks against them. So it was a hot minute. I'm trying to think of any other games where it was like that for most Metroid. Well, Metroid did good. Super Metroid. Oh yeah, it did really good. Star Fox. Star Fox 2. I mean, it was a great game last year, I guess, or in 2017.
I've actually heard pretty good things, fairly generally good things about Starlink.
Yep. Oh, Starlink. Oh, you're gonna go for Starlink now. Oh boy.
Well, at least I'm going according to the game title.
Oh, okay. Pardon me. Lastly, we have for 1984 also coming out in Japan's Famicom, Tennis. And Tennis is obviously one of the first games that came out for the Famicom. So it is Tennis and Zelda's Zelda 22nd birthday. Actually, no, sorry, 32nd birthday. Because Zelda 2 came out 32 years ago. How does that make you feel?
I should be asking you that, not me.
Hey, I'm only 27. Okay, you better watch out, Mister. And then 32, and then 35 years ago for Tennis. So the beginning of Nintendo's video game franchising, starting with the Famicom, started over 35 years ago. Wow. It's so weird.
Didn't the first Zelda come out in 85? I'm pretty sure the first Zelda came out in 85.
Did it? I mean, that would make sense around that time frame. If you want to check,
I should know from the Nick's
all our quizzing and all that stuff. Was that one of the questions we asked?
I might not have been one of the questions, but I'm pretty sure I definitely covered it at some point during my studies.
So this is for the U.S. release, I believe, February 21st, 1986 is for the first Zelda.
No.
And then, actually, this might be in Japan, specifically, because in 1987, January 14th, The Adventure of Link, which came out for the Famicom. So this, came out in 86. I don't remember when the NES came out, so that is an interesting one. Nick, where can we find you on Twitter?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at LRWarrior11. You can also find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/LRWarrior11. Fair warning, streams are going to be fairly irregular while I get set up. The courses I'm taking have a lot more deadlines than normal. These are all smaller, like assignments and tasks and stuff, but I need to get myself set up properly to make sure I have a good workflow and I'm not taking anything away from school. That's me.
Good deal. Also, just a heads up, the console came out on July 15th in 1983. So about 6 months or so later than Tennis came out. So this is one of the first games that came out for the NES in complete infancy. Wow. Okay. Yikes. So over myself, you can check me out. I'm on Twitter at 2timestyler, and you can check us both out on the podcast Twitter, which is at MasterQuestPod. Or if you really want to, and you can do what you want, you can email us at casualmasterquest@gmail.com. Is there anything else we should throw in the fray here?
No. It's episode 35. We're approaching the end of season 2.
We fucking did it, man. That was a great take 3. Man, we did it. We did it! All right, guys, we're going to see you next week, hopefully, thankfully. And don't forget to never stop the grind. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.